Hello everyone, it is Joe here from Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. If you're looking for PTCGO codes, including the stuff from Vivid Voltage, make sure you go ahead and check out the Poketown store. You can get a 5% discount on your orders using the code Omnipoke. For today's video, we are going to be looking at LucMetal Zacian, a slower approach towards the Doggo deck. You're really trying to make life difficult for your opponent to take knockouts, thanks to the full Metal Wall GX attack, thanks to Metal Goggles, and thanks to the copies of Mallow Lana that we're playing in here. Try and move around our guys, try and throw dolls in their face as well at times. Removing energies with the full Metal Wall is also awkward, whilst then just trying to Brave Blade through the remainder of the game. Zamazenta, obviously a great wall in certain matchups as well, so certainly a powerful deck in the format. It's really going up and down in popularity. Really reacting to the meta. There are times where there are just too many fire decks out there for this deck to be, you know, a top competitor. When you are trying to tank and you have a natural weakness to one of the better archetypes in the game, the Centiskorch, the Blacephalon, and even the kind of upcoming deck of the Reshizard sort of tempo deck. These are all red flags for LucMetal, but other than that, you can compete very nicely against a ton of the other decks in the game. So yeah, tries to play a slightly different approach to most other decks, where you're not really trying to race in a typical sense. You're trying to slow the game down in many situations by removing damage from play, removing energies, or just trying to set your opponent back with all these other things like dolls and stuff. So yeah, certainly feels quite different to play this archetype compared to many other decks in the game, especially because your draw engine only comes through supporters, and even then they're oftentimes just getting you like +3 or a fresh 5, those sorts of things. Not super powerful draw in general with this deck, so got to work with what you have most of the time, so it's an interesting one to play for sure. Let's get into the list though, starting off with 2 copies of the Tag Team Lucario and Melmetal-GX. It's got 260 base hit points that get stronger after that full Metal Wall GX attack, which is one of the key reasons why you find this guy in the deck. For 1 colorless, plus if you have a metal energy attached, you can discard all energy from your opponent's active, whilst also reducing 30 damage done to all of your Pokemon during the remainder of the game. So pushes this guy up to effective 290, which is certainly nice. You have Goggles on top of that in a very high count of 4 to try and make sure that we're really reducing as much damage coming into us as possible, which is excellent. And like I said, just works into our game plan of tanking as much as possible. We also have a couple damaging attacks. Steel Fist for 2 colorless does 50, and you can attach a metal from your deck to this Pokemon, which is actually pretty okay. You may think not much of this little 50 damage poke, but it can be quite relevant. Things like the Pikachu and Zekrom matchup, where you can do 50 damage either onto a Mewtwo or onto a Pikarom, can set up a Brave Blade, which is really nice for you, even with that resistance that Pikarom has. The Steel Fist goes to 30, the Brave Blade goes to 210, and you can 2-shot the Pikarom that way. And there's a few other moments where the Steel Fist will get you in range, so don't sleep on those little prods. They can actually be a really big deal for you. And there's also that heavy impact attack for 2 metal, 2 colorless, and it just has a vanilla 150. This is sometimes really nice to do, just so that you're not having to continually pivot in and out of Brave Blade. You can just have that heavy impact available that can keep like churning through things, so certainly a nice option to have there. Usually our game plan is going to be putting down 1 LucMetal and then force our opponent to take 2 knockouts on our other 2 prize Pokemon. So you're always effectively trying to make it a 7 prize game, and these 7 prizes are pretty chunky because of the Goggles and the reduction from the Metal Wall as well. So then we have 4 copies of Zacian V, obviously just an incredible card in the game. It has 220 base hit points, so we can effectively become 220, reducing 60 coming into us, which is, you know, very difficult to deal with for just 2 prizes. Brave Blade doing 230, obviously a very solid number. We have a bunch of pivoting in and outs for this guy with the Mallow Lanas, the switches, and we're playing a Bird Keeper in here as well, and Cynthia Caitlin to get back those sorts of supporters. So hopefully it's going to help us chain the Brave Blade turn by turn by turn. Also, we have that Intrepid Sword attack, which is going to be fantastic for gaining hand advantage. Sometimes we'll sit behind a doll and get a few more cards. Sometimes we're using this for the energy acceleration aspect as well, just to try and turbo out an early Zacian V. I think this is one of the decks in the format that is happy going first and second again. Always taking a monitoring approach makes the most sense to me. I think Pikachu and Zekrom is a far stronger deck going second. I think the welder decks obviously want to go second as well, so if you are in an open deck list situation, you'll choose to go second to block those sorts of things. But this deck can also be quite happy going first, just because you can attach Intrepid Sword to a Zacian. Sometimes if you hit an energy off that Intrepid Sword, you're starting to be really, really threatening. So yeah, don't sleep on that either at all. We then have 2 copies of the Zamazenta V. He shows up a lot less often than the Zacian, but it is obviously vital for one of the most crucial matchups, which is Eternatus VMAX, having this Dauntless Shield ability. Stopping all damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's VMAX is obviously incredible. It can be a panic option against Centiskorch as well, especially if they overload energies all onto one thing. And if you can put down a Coating Metal onto your Zamazenta, you do have a chance of tanking hits from their backup dudes. Sometimes things like Heatran GX would be the scariest thing for you. Outside of that, you can tank a lot of hits from things that they can power up in one turn at the very least. So this Dauntless Shield, huge in the Eterna matchup, oftentimes is enough to win it for you just outright. And against Centiskorch, it gives you a panic option as well. So yeah, really nice ability for you. You do have the Assault Tackle attack for 2 metal and a colorless. You do 130 and discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. This can be used as well as extra energy removal in certain situations. There's a lot of special energy going around, capture energies, hiding dark energies, speed lightning energies, a ton of things out there. So don't sleep on Assault Tackle either. It can be a great way to minus energies from your opponent, which again plays into this game plan. And it also has an extra 10 base hit points, just something to bear in mind over the Zacian if ever that's an important break point. The last Pokemon I'm playing is Aegislash V. It's just in here for the Sonic Edge attack. For 2 metal and a colorless, you do 130, and you also break through any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. This is a way for you to knock out Altarias, which have been showing up in a handful of decks, be it control-based, or even recently Excadrill has been playing a 2-2 line of Altaria, so let's just not lose to that matchup and play the Aegislash instead. And we've also got, of course, the Decidueye decks out there, so Sonic Edging through these certainly makes a lot of sense to me. Seems to be worth the one-off space, seeing as though it gets so much mileage with the fact that you can reduce damage coming into it. It's going to be super tanky. You can Mallow Lana. You can use this guy over and over again to just keep slashing through whatever walls your opponent's made. So certainly makes sense for me to commit the space. To the trainers then, I've mentioned the Lillie's Pokédoll a couple times. Sometimes it's just to buy yourself a turn here and there and force boss on your opponent. But oftentimes it's really helpful when you're trying to move in and out of Brave Blade. It means that you don't need to have Switch or Mallow Lana Switch. You can just play one Switch and then use the doll to throw itself to the bottom of the deck to get your Zacian back into the active. So really nice for slowing the game down in certain instances, but also great for helping you Brave Blade as much as possible as well. We have 4 of the important things ready, the sources for extra energy acceleration, 4 Quick Ball to get our guys out, most importantly looking for that Zacian in the opening turns, if not the LucMetal. 4 switches, so we can move between our chunky dudes, especially in and out of Brave Blade. A pretty high count of 3 Tag Calls. I've seen as low as 1 copy of Tag Call in the LucMetal variants. Those are really the ones that make space for Crushing Hammers, which I'm not playing right now. But I like the high count of the Tag Call. Really instant access to LucMetal makes a lot of sense to me. Cynthia Caitlin is something that can help you build a hand, which makes sense in the opening stages when you're using Intrepid Sword more often than not. So I like those synergies there. And just having high counts in terms of access against a Marnie from things like Paralysis and other things like that, allowing us to have a high count of Tag Call, Mallow Lana, and Switch should give us a good time overall. So yeah, that's why I'm playing such a high count. Early access to LucMetal as well is like such a big deal. You want to be full metal walling quickly most of the time to deal with your opponent's initial threat. That's kind of the main idea. I'm playing 1 copy of Swell. I'm not super enamored by stadiums in the format. You'll see me at the moment playing 1 Swell in just like a bunch of things because I don't want to compete in a stadium war when so many other decks are just naturally playing Swell. We're not really fussed about many stadiums in the format right now. It's only really the fire decks, which we're already like fairly unfavored against. So I don't want to commit too many spaces to it, but it does give us a bit of a safety net against random like Wondrous Labyrinth, Prism Stars, random like black markets, as well as, for the most part, you're just trying to stop things like the giant halves overall. You can cut this though. I do think this is a flexible slot. You can play Stadiumless for certain in this deck if you really want to. It just gives us a bit of a security blanket, really. We're playing 1 copy of Bird Keeper. Extra pivoting is always nice. It just has great synergy with Brave Blade. I've just wanted an extra switching out overall. 3 copies of Boss. You could certainly think about playing a 4th copy. I think against some certain matchups it is really vital to have Boss on the right turn. Otherwise you can sort of get rolled over with this deck. So always being aware of your Boss's orders is something to bear in mind, and obviously it's a huge card, so I wouldn't hate seeing a 4th copy. Sinlin I like having a 2 count of. It just helps us reuse the best supporters in the right situation, be it Boss's orders, be it Mallow Lana, whatever else you want to grab. And like I said, it's not always, you know, starting from a low hand size again with a Marnie. It's helping you grow a hand size, which I think is pretty helpful. 2 Mallow Lanas, it's a big card in the deck for healing, obviously. We've got the Marnies for hand disruption, and I'm playing 3 copies of Research. I find Research hard to play in this deck, especially in the early stages, because you're normally, again, trying to look to Intrepid Sword and stuff like that. So it makes a lot of your decisions more difficult with the Research. So just playing a few in here. There's obviously great times when you get hit with a Marnie from your opponent, and Research is going to be a really clutch card for you in those sorts of spots. So I still like having a fairly high count, but not completely leaning into her like you would in other decks, really. Playing 4 copies of Goggles, you have to respect Tool Scrapper, and you have to make sure you have these on board as quickly as possible as well, especially, you know, like pre-GX attack. You want to make sure your Zacians aren't getting knocked out whilst you Intrepid Sword towards them. And then we're playing 14 Energy. When your traditional support account is all you're going for in terms of draw power, not having the Dene or anything else to fall back on, means that you need to have a really high count of these energy cards. It makes Intrepid Sword stronger, and it just means that we're always going to have those attachments throughout the game, whilst only drawing a few cards in between turns. So yeah, that is the deck. In terms of Crushing Hammers, that's really the question mark, whether you do or don't play Crushings in LucMetal. If you do, it's normally looking towards cards like the Swell, the Tag Call, the Bird Keeper, and the 4th Sinlin. Those would be my 4 spaces if you want to play Crushings. I just don't want to advertise Crushing Hammer too much on the channel. Let's get into some games. We have won the initial coin flip, and I don't mind going first with this deck. I don't mind it too much. Very few decks can one-shot your guys early. And if you ever do have the Zacian start, you get hugely rewarded for it. So, looks like we're just going to be Zamazenta passing, unfortunately. But it's a risk that we were willing to take. Might be in a mirror match, because not many other decks play Zamazenta. Okay, so we'll just pass. Mirror match is certainly a slow grind, so sit back and relax, I guess. We'll see now with this quick ball what they're up to. Ah, it's ADP that just happens to be playing Zamazenta. Okay. Things to be afraid of in the ADP matchup is Leon and Tool Scrapper. Those are big things that you're certainly a little bit wary against. It has the quick ball for the Zacian as well, looking pretty nice. Couple energies in the discard pile for them if they want early Saucer synergy. They're actually going to do us a bit of a favor and play the Marnie for us. They can still, of course, GX this turn if they really want to push. We hit Goggles and Bird Keeper, 2 not too shabby cards. But also not playing Tool Scrapper, so that Toughness Cape is very awkward to stare down. Energy just isn't great on this guy. Assault Tackle into a Brave Blade works, but it's just really not great. Unfortunately, we don't have many better players right now, so we'll just pass. You can see the importance of an early Zacian, though. You play 4 copies and you play the 4 quick balls because really we are quite reliant on its draw power in the opening stages because we have some kind of clunkier cards in and around this deck. It's going to DAA change. They do get the outs towards the GX attack here. They also play Tag Call. There's all sorts going on in this 60. They got stamps, they got spinners, they got tag calls. Variety of tools going on, tons of things going on. Alright, we probably want to play Marnie rather than anything else. The attachment still doesn't seem great on the Zamazenta, so we'll throw it away. Now we'll attach to it. We're hoping that the Marnie doll combo buys us some time. We'll see though. It certainly may not. Certainly scary when they're able to get so much free acceleration from the Ultimate Ray. They're going to Eldegoss Boss, Eldegoss Marnie, okay. It's not Gust, which is good, and it means they were missing energy attachment. We do find a Zacian, and we find Double Saucer. We don't want to be aggressive into him just yet, though, because his Zacian can still kill our Zacian. So I might still be doll swording here. We'll see. Wow, I mean, this toughness cape is wrecking us right now. Otherwise, we had a monster turn. Don't know how aggressive I want to play these saucers. I think one always makes sense. I think possibly turn attach makes sense here as well. They only have a 3-card hand. They don't have any more Eldegoss. Oh, sorry, they don't have any more draw power behind them. I don't really want to get swept though. Getting swept feels pretty bad. At what point do I just say I'm all in? Let's think about this. If this dies next turn, and I have an energy here, I just go back into the doll, and I'm just passing anyway. I'm always intrepid sorting. Just am I ever actually putting energies onto the Zamazenta? It could be the way that I close on this guy, but I still want to weave in the GX attack. So I'm going to do this and really hope for the best. Our opponent has a quick ball. I'm going to get rid of a Rangaroo for no target, and they're just going to research. Okay. So the dolls have done their shift for sure. There's more sources from our opponents. There's a water that can come down as well. Their chips are pretty much on the table. I'm still in a situation where I need to Intrepid Sword, right? Now they have 5 cards in hand with only 12 in deck, and bosses are much more likely though. Maybe I just have to cash in on this. Tackle's a good draw. Means I can draw more cards. It's just whether I want to boss and hit this. Probably the only way I'm winning is if I'm getting through this guy, right? He hits and kills. I bring this up, hoping to buy turns. He's played 3 Switch already. Probably got to bring this guy up. Probably want to not bench this because it can give up 4 prizes. All right. Source is a real good draw. If we can hit the Switch and the energy, I mean, that's a lot to ask for, you know, but... What do I need to take here? Do I need to take the Marnie for next turn? Or do I need to take the boss, possibly? Can we take that boss? Not the outcome we needed. Alright, if they have Switch, they beat us. It's their last Switch in deck. Also, if they have Energy plus Saucer, they have Switch. It's game. Alright, well that went pretty poorly for us. The toughness cape being... Okay, sure. You kill me anyway. Doing it for the stats. Okay. Got to accept it. Alright, that was a kind of rough start for us, to be fair. I do think that matchup is stronger with Crushing Hammers, obviously. If you can Crushing away Water Energy, obviously gonna make things a little easier for you, for sure. I think that's one of the key matchup where Crushing Hammers are important. To an extent, they're important against Pikarom as well, keeping the Boltund away from a one-shot. Opponent's deciding whether or not they'd like to start here. They are going to go first. This time, we do have the Zacian start. We've drawn a lot of energies, but Quick Ball's a really nice thing to see in the early stages. Opponent kicks off with an Eldegoss. What decks like to go first in the format, huh? Oh wow, they're choosing to play Pikarom and choosing to go first. Interesting. There's the Boltund. I think when you see a Boltund, I want a turn 1 attached to the active. But now I hit the Saucer, I want a turn 1 attached to the bench. And I want it to be a Zacian rather than a LucMetal now. Okay. I do want the cards because I want to work towards a bigger hand size here. We'll take the guaranteed switch card if we have to. It's also thinning to hopefully make the Intrepid Sword hit a switch or an energy, you know. None of those things happen, but we are threatening the Brave Blade on him straight away. It's pretty nice. They're gonna quick ball away a research. They do have Pikarom. Looks like it might be binned. They have a Mewtwo. They're gonna swing the Marnie our way. Okay. Where was that in the Intrepid Sword, huh? They can manually attach to the Mewtwo and they're just going to electrify. Alright. Okay. Okay. I'm going to split my energies. This is not looking great, chaps. This is not looking great at all. They're going to go ahead and grab a Choo-Choo. They may take the turn to electrify again. It's not a bad deal because it just gets so much energy into play. They're going to research, I know that much. Got rid of a backup Boltund, which I actually think is really good for us, because Boltund is the scariest thing in the matchup, I think, by far. Yeah, he's just going to build the energies. Makes a lot of sense. Oh, no switch out. I can't kill this Boltund. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 210, 240. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 210, 240, 250 with the thing. So the Googles aren't going to help us. If he Prism Stars, he can even kill this. Alright, this is Zacian in the active, maybe fodder. There's a chance it's fodder. Who knows? Huh, the music stopped for some reason. Okay. I skipped ahead. Impatient. Uh-oh. Okay. There they are. Well, that is a big sad. Let's play our Sinlin. Goggles are good. We like Goggles. Really don't like GXing into this guy. Because he can switch and Coco and still shenanigan with it. Here comes that Tapu Koko. We're getting spammed by that Marnie. They're gonna quick ball. I'm gonna grab a Vikavolt V. Okay, just to throw it away. Sure. They're churning through the deck. They only have 5 cards remaining in the deck. Three boss played. I'm gonna try and make this game go long. If I can. How many Switch played? 3. How many energies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Still a ton of the good cards, unfortunately. No hammers left, right? Still 1 hammer left. I mean, it's not going anywhere else, is it? Let's be honest. Okay, so there's the last Switch played. There's a Marnie being played. There's the last Hammer. Had the chance to play around that by actually taking the Intrepid Sword Energy. They've decided to speed lightning and draw too many cards. Okay. They have played themselves. I have dealt no damage this game. Okay. Okay. Well, you do you, I guess. You know what I said earlier when LucMetal was a resource war? Sometimes you just play yourself. Wow. That was the win con, I guess. I'm still a believer of going first because Intrepid Sword's broken. Okay, here we go. Prove me right, Zacian. Attach, Goggles, Sword, 2 energies. Bish bash bosh. Prove me completely right. Prove me right. Oh, you hate to see it. Okay. Looks like we're up against ADP. Looks like people got their hands on the... whatever this thing's called. The sword... Best of Sword and Shield? No, what was it called? Legendary something... somethings. The dog stuff. For Christmas. I don't know where I was going with that. Got sidetracked because I don't know the name of the product. But the gold dogs do look pretty cool. Well, someone else is throwing caution to the wind and binning everything to try and tempo out on us. Okay. It's just that easy. Why didn't we do it? So, 2 switches already played. I could just attach Boss and Sword again. I'm kind of interested in it. Kind of interested. We get some quick balls. That's what we're after. They're actually not bad as long as we don't get Marnie. They're actually pretty good. Alright, switch number 3 has been played. We're looking at that long game, you know. In the future sometime. Am I happy getting rid of Sinlin? Yeah, I'm probably happy getting rid of Sinlin. So we'll thin the Zamazenta, and then we'll grab another Zacian, and we'll grab the LucMetal. I feel more comfortable goggling this guy, I think. I don't want to get panicked. I don't want to get random high rolled. That would feel bad. Alright, we miss energy, which kind of hurts. Thanks, Intrepid. Missing a lot of energy here. Get Marnied. Oh, I really want to, but I'm so petrified of boss. 2 boss played, 4 card hand, with quick balls and cherish balls still open to them. Oh, I really need the energy though. Oh man. Dang it. Scrapper is not what you want to see, boys. Now he can hit us with the dog. That's not good. The good news is he's already played 3 Switch, so he might have to sacrifice the ADP here. And that could be our win condition. We could run him out of energies by just bossing up ADP, bossing up ADP, bossing up ADP. That could be the route. Oh, he's going to Ultimate Ray. Okay, that's really good for us. We're going to be basically just trying to trap this guy over and over again. That's the plan. 3 switches played, thanks to the early game aggro. They're going to DAA change. They're still pushing. They play Air Balloon. Okay, so that makes our life way harder. But if he's just going to come in and swing, I can kill it immediately. Interesting. Going to take the opportunity to Bird Keep as well here. It's going to be close. They're going to be running quite low. Petrified of the Leon at this point. That's what we're most afraid of. They have Saucers left, so they can Saucer. Our plan is to Mallow Lana, attach, pay, retreat, Brave Blade, kill this. If he just swings with this guy. Going to bring up the Morwan instead. Play Aurora Energy. They've already scared us enough once with one tool scrapper. No more damage mods, please. They're gonna Marnie, okay. They play their last switch. Now, is this their last energy card? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Maybe. It's possible. We should research and push for Saucer. I think. There's only 2 in here. But also playing Switch is fine, right? Oh wait, do I just Mallow Lana pay retreat and kill with this one? Yeah, that's guaranteed. Almost threw it away. I think we're there. I think they just don't have enough stuff. They have possibly 1 energy and possibly a Saucer. 11 energies down. Only, well yeah, 1 Saucer still alive. Yeah, so they had the energy, and they're just going to research to scoop. We've run 2 people out, basically, right? And it's people just getting overzealous, right? Yeah. Some players just push too far, too fast. Sometimes you need to take a breath against the LucMetal. Like, our back was against the wall a lot there, and we missed a few pieces here and there, but we were able to run a peak roll out and an ADP out after getting rolled by the first ADP we played up against. So, yeah, that's LucMetal. Let me know what you guys think. Are you always playing Crushing Hammers in everything that you play right now? I certainly respect that that's certainly a strategy. What would you do with the stadium? Do you just think it's chuckable and just make that fire matchup even worse? If you're doing that, then you just take out the coatings altogether and go for higher basic energy count for Intrepid Sword and to make Saucers more live. Those are the discussions that I've really been having internally while I've been playing this deck the last couple of days. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video. Cheers.